Good morning, everybody. It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations. And I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2018 Innovation Award winner, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I'm also the co-host and co-producer of the only online show in the world for dads and fathers. It's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And as always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. And good morning, Ryan Knight, on Easter Monday.
Hey, happy Easter to all those that celebrate. For those that don't remember who Ryan Knight is, I'm one of the co-founders of the Afro-Caribbean Business Network. We work with entrepreneurs of African and Caribbean heritage, really to figure out what stage the business is in and help them create a strategy to grow their companies exponentially. And I'm an entrepreneur myself. I run a company called Detailing Nights. So we provide mobile waterless cleaning, car cleaning, and we go to people's houses or offices. So clean the cars on the spot without using water, and our plant-based eco-friendly cleaning supplies. And happy to announce spring is officially here. We have our spring special.
Spring is what? By the calendar, it is.
No, man, we've been hitting some double digits, 20s a couple days ago.
One day, yeah, couple days ago.
Every day the sun is shining, I'll take it. And right now we do have our spring special. So usually our King's detail is $129. You can get your car cleaned inside and out for only $100. So we are going to be getting people's vehicles refreshed all the way till the end of May. That special is going. So definitely go to our website, detailingnights.ca, and you can book in. And let me know, we're using a new booking system. So how smooth the user experience is with our booking system. Definitely give me some feedback.
Booking system, spring. What do you define as spring? Calendar or weather?
Spring equinox. When it says it's spring, I call it spring.
So why don't we just call this fall? With the weather.
Fall equinox is not, I don't go by weather. I go by the equinox. So March 21st, is it? So March 21st to June 21st is spring. And then summer is June 22nd. So,
calendar and
Canada,
weather
you
reality.
can't watch the weather. The weather can be erratic.
Can be?
Exactly.
Can be.
Exactly.
I think it's something is. How was the Easter weekend?
It was nice. Got to visit both families, so my wife's parents and then my parents, and doing the Easter egg hunts, heading to church in the morning. So getting the children comfortable with the story of Jesus and what Easter is about. And then the commercial side of it too, I guess, with the chocolate and Easter eggs.
Yes.
So, yeah. It was a heavy weekend, but filled with a lot of learning.
So Easter egg and bun?
Oh, yes. So, thank you. Shout out to, was it Al's Grocery in Pickering, where we got the Easter bun. And then shout out to GC Jerk Express, who does the fish fry. So we were able to pick up the dinners. So Snapper and Kingfish from Colin and Lorena.
Yeah, but there's something missing. You haven't mentioned.
Oh, well, I was able to sneak in some oxtail. Yes. Thanks to my in-laws. When we went by on the weekend, they had some for me. So, yes. And then when my dad cooked for Easter dinner yesterday, he had his signature oxtail there. So if you go to my Instagram, Oxtail Hunter, is it the Oxtail Hunter or just Oxtail Hunter? But the first picture is my dad's oxtail, which is the benchmark that I set all other oxtail against. So we want to follow that journey of me rating oxtail dinners. That's where it started.
Wow. So oxtail is where it's at on the weekend. That's cool. Yes. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. And we haven't chatted for a bit, but before we went live, I asked Ryan how the auditions went for Dragon's Den.
Yeah. So that was a couple of weeks ago. And had to go down and support others that were pitching. So we had about 26 sign up to say like, hey, we're interested in pitching because ACBN, we do a delegation down to Dragon's Den to say, you know what, let's go down and pitch, audition. So we did about 5 interviews with business owners that were down there and got to talk to the producers and, see, but some exciting news. I'm not sure if anybody follows the Dragons Den Instagram or their social medias, but they were nominated for, I think, best reality show by Kojugo TV. So they've been inviting people to vote every day to help them win the best, I guess, People's Choice or Kojugo's award. So that's been exciting news.
Okay, and we just want to also express for those who are of the Catholic faith, the passing away of the Pope this morning.
Right.
And so we want to wish our condolences not only to his family, but those who practice or believe in Catholicism, the passing away of another pontiff. Actually, interesting, his last, I guess, public appearance with a dignitary was it yesterday with J.D. Vance, who's the Vice President of the United States. So I know there may be some stories about that.
Oh, wow. He made a surprise appearance at, I think, one of the mass that they did recently and had somebody reading his remarks. So, yeah, I think people were anticipating he was back on getting ready or getting better. And, yeah, to hear that, it's really sad.
A number of people, well, I just listened to some reporters, and a lot of people have been cover the papacy, I guess they call it, say they were shocked because it sounded like he was making a turnaround in his health, and this just came up, bam, in light. So this is going to be interesting to see the process of picking another pontiff.
And that is quite a production in itself. I think the TV show Cardinal or movie Cardinal did.
I think it was Cardinal.
Yeah,
a reality show like that based on the papacy.
Yeah, I have to check. Yeah, but it begins, right?
Yeah, so this is good. So it's sunny where I am. I believe it's sunny where you are, which is a good thing with the vitamin D. And we're gonna have another epic conversation. Anything else you want to chat about before we go to break?
Yeah, switch to some positive news. People might have heard. National Restaurant Week is back in effect. I think their kickoff event is coming up soon, and in May, it's going to be the next Buy Black. So, hey, find your favorite.
By Friday show, we'll start promoting it on Friday show, and then two times the week before the actual event, we have some restaurants from across Canada going to be on promoting it, and I am definitely looking forward to going to the kickoff event. I'm doing as much as possible. I don't have to drop in and drop out. I want to sit down and enjoy, and it's actually out in your neck of the woods this year.
Yeah, and apparently
which is nice. It's a downtown drive, which is always good.
Yes, and there'll be about 14 restaurants that are sampling foods. So.
Absolutely, 100%. That is going to be a good event. So, we'll have, I'm sure, we're always in contact with Roger Dundas. Roger and I have been chatting, and anything I can do to help him make that event a huge success. We've been keeping in regular contact with that, but get ready for it because it's back again, and carve some space out of your tummy once that week. If you're in Canada. So that'll be really, really good. All right, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we have another friend who I don't think has ever been on the Morning Vibe.
Hey, gotcha.
I don't think he's ever been on the Morning Vibe, but he's going to be on this morning. And we're going to be chatting about a number of things. There's an election coming up in Canada. We're also going to be talking a little about Gen Zs. So you know what? Let me run a promo for the show he's always on. So we'll be back in 30 seconds. Today, talking about a very important thing on Black Canada Talking.
I would imagine there are lots of people who seek support from a psychologist. There's no consideration to their experience as a Black person.
Yeah, he's a narcissist, and I take a narcissist serious, but he's also admitting that he just screwed his country because he's going to feel a lot more pain.
For those who don't understand, let me put it in the language of non-Western countries. That's called corruption.
They voted for him. You got him, not us.
I love Perry. They voted for him. You got him, not us.
But that stench floats upwards because we get some of that stench on us too.
100%.
The whole
100%.
world is feeling it.
You got it. All right. Let's say, please subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. We are now at cleanly 1,780 subscribers. So we're looking to go to 1,790 next. And also follow the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Join the Morning Vibe Discord group. Email me at dr.vibe at the dr.vibe.show.com. And there's also a link there you can just click on. It'll notify me that you want to join the Discord group. Finally, advertise your business product or service on any of our platforms. Email me at dr.vibe at the dr.vibe.show.com. And then finally, she's actually in the chat, Dr. Tachi. Dr. Tachi is here, Indie Suit Media, independent content creators platform on the YouTube platform. And I know you've passed 25,000 subscribers on that, Dr. Tachi. I don't know how many, but I'm sure you'll tell me in the comments. And there's also the link you can watch on their website. All right.
Nice.
Go ahead.
No, I'll say nice. Thanks, Dr. Tachi, for tuning in, and congrats.
Absolutely. And we have in the comments, she's in the comments. Dr. Tachi says, good day. Good day to have you. Usually she doesn't come into like maybe 20, 25 minutes, but she's in right from the fire. So this is good. And also C Nurse K, good morning. She says, morning all. Unfortunately, as a healthcare provider, we do see that people sometimes, quote, perk up, unquote, before passing away in regards to the Pope. Condolences. Good to hear that. Very nice. Very nice. Good stuff. All right. We mentioned that you usually see him on Sundays, at least every second Sunday on Black Canada Talking. And we took this Sunday off because I think he needed a break because he came back from New York recently.
Right.
And I was praying for him that he made it back across down there okay and back across okay. We have joining us this morning as he smiles, Cesar Nadima Musa.
Yes.
I just say co-host of Black Canada Talking Sundays at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. He's the driving ship behind it. He is with us. Cesar, good morning. How are you?
Morning, Dr. Vibe. Good morning, Brother Ryan. And good morning to all our people in the chat, notably Dr. Tachi and all your technical staff. Thank you. Thank you always for having me.
No problem. And Dr. Tachi, update us. She's now at 27,400 subscribers.
Congratulations.
Wow. That is huge. Like growing like weed. They say growing like weed. Cesar, what has been going on in your world?
Well, you said it well. I'm back from New York, where I was regarding the United Nations Permanent Forum for People of African Descent, the 4th edition. And okay, right off the bat, let's be blunt. I got profiled at the border, effectively.
I
had to be the only one out of the group of people going to the United Nations. I was the one who was profiled. Yeah. And expected to be profiled, number one. So, but I had to give proof that I'm going to the United Nations and for what purpose, which none of the previous UN people had to do. But yeah, no, it was. I mean, we talk about it on Sunday, I guess, but to put it simply, I took a hotel as I wanted to be closer to the people and being self-funded. I took a hotel in Queens, and Dr. Vibe, I messaged you about the gentrification that I saw.
Yes.
I mean, I was, technically I was in the hood in the sense of, the street where the bus dropped me off. You could have recorded a hip hop video from the 90s right there.
Okay.
It reminded me of that Biggie video before he got famous, when he's like rapping on the street with the cars. It was like any hip hop video right there on that street. But businesses, I mean, yeah, there was a barbershop, there was a Jamaican restaurant, but Arab businessmen, Chinese businessmen. You can see the hustle and the struggle on the street. The apartment building across the street, If someone had told me that was a jail, it would have been believable. Uh, and then you see white people on the other side of the street walking with luggages. I didn't understand, but I did because that was the street where my hotel was, aka the gentrified part of the neighborhood where cleaner hotels, like you name it, it was like, and I'm saying this without any hypocrisy. Obviously, I become part of the, I become part of the story, aka part of the gentrification. It's and overall the world UN experience was great. It was of course it was how can I put it? It was great. Controversial issues, some drama, but I got to deliver my speech.
Oh, so this time you're able to speak again?
I did speak again. I did speak last year as well, and
Yeah.
this year, interestingly, I was supposed to speak on systemic racism.
Mm.
No, I was supposed to speak on the general debate on Monday. That didn't happen. On Tuesday, that didn't happen. My last hope was Wednesday morning on systemic racism. You know what I address.
Yes,
That
yes.
that didn't happen, and
Oh,
some brothers got really upset, and I don't want to say they made a scene. The complaints were legitimate. The form is not one I would have chosen, but I mean, as a good boy, my hand was raised, and they noticed my hand was raised, and I had a talk with the chair and others in terms of some improvements that can be brought to the processes, which they invited me to submit on this week. But at the end of the afternoon, I got to speak, and interestingly, on artificial intelligence, as one who tries to have some knowledge on everything, but notably as I think Dr. Vibe mentioned it one recently about how I notably invest in artificial intelligence. I was lucky out of many technological fields to talk about. This was one that I knew about, and linking artificial intelligence with what I call the three cancers of the black psyche, aka entertainment, consumerism, and religion. So he was very well received, like at the UN.
Well, I'm curious, what's the link between AI and religion?
Well,
Ryan, why you just drop? We got two subjects to talk about. You just harpooned it.
Let me be full
Yeah.
disclosure because it's Easter Monday.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, I can only be on till 10 because my wife has a meeting at 10, so I'm gonna
Okay, so both of
relay
you,
with her child.
we'll have Cesar come back on that. All right. Well,
It's fascinating even more as Pope Francis just died this morning.
Yeah.
But oh yeah, there is.
What do you think they uploaded his consciousness and they might just keep him as Pope?
No, not to that point, but you will be surprised. There is AI and religion come together in ways that can surprise and shock people. And I purposely didn't talk to shock people. I mean, telling Black people to end the cognitive dissonance about praising the ancestors, wanting to honor the ancestors while they're praising Jesus and Allah, it offended some people. But even some of the UN officials were like, wow, he's right. In the name of Jesus and Allah, millions of Africans were killed over centuries. How is that controversial in 2025?
Yes.
That's the cognitive dissonance. But very quickly, when you talk about AI and religion, well, some churches are using AI tools for online masses, notably in the context of the pandemic, but then in order to kind of keep people religiously fed as they cannot or won't go to church. So you get that email and then you click on the link and you get your AI assistant for your mass. At the same time, when you look at the revival of African spirituality, you just need to look at, for example, Netflix, Castlevania. They brought on so much on voodoo, but also the math, ancient Egypt spiritual, where with artificial intelligence, you can re-educate people, modern technologies, to learn about spirituality and ancient history to feed the identity. But the question is, who is behind the programming? Because the lenses, so in some of them, notably like the Netflix Castlevania, and Castlevania is about vampires, aka Eastern Europe, Romania, very European / white folklore, but they slid in African spirituality from the Caribbean as from the continent. So kind of like a movie by Ryan Coogler. You can have the same movie made by Hollywood, or you have the movie title and concept, and you have the lenses of a Ryan Coogler, an actor such as Denzel or Michael B. Jordan. That black lens behind the technology, behind the conception. So all of this is there, yeah. And that's still only the surface. That's still only the surface.
So this is a perfect reason why people need to watch Black Canada Talking, because Cesar really lays it down. And I have a feeling after you drop that subject, Ryan, I think we're only going to get to one of the two because of our conversation piece, which is a good thing.
Well, I asked because I've heard people talk about AI as it becoming a God figure, because it would become all-knowing, and then people might start just worshiping it, or it can start treating us as lower beings.
But isn't it already?
It will happen.
It knows more than any individual person, 100%.
Well, not exactly. So this is relative, and Dr. Vibe, you stop me whenever I try to make.
You know what? I'm thinking this. We'll continue on this subject for a few minutes. We'll talk about the Black entrepreneur stuff with the election and the election itself, and the other subject we need to hit. I think this.
What was the other subject? Sorry, I apologize.
How the Liberal Party has put of its mandate to donate. Let me just give the amount.
130 billions.
Yeah, $160 million to a permanent Black entrepreneurship program. We'll get to that, but let's get this. I think that is integrated in what we're chatting about right now, because AI, business, etc. impact. So continue on this. You and Ryan go. I'm good.
So let me put it to you this way: the next industrial age. So we're talking about AI, but there's a bigger technology that's coming down the road. Allow me to art, because that's a whole other topic. But what's happening right now? So right now we're talking about AI, but just before AI, you got to look about the progress of robotization. So what you're talking about, so people will talk about a TV show such as Black Mirror, for example.
Right.
No problem. But I will give you a more concrete example. In social course theory and discourse, if you want to have an idea of where the West is going, there are certain countries of references. So obviously people are thinking about the United States. Now, forget that. United States, capitalism, imperialism, the domination through culture. Okay, no problem. But I'm talking about if you want to have an idea, a lens in terms of where you can do some, oh my God, it's projected analytics, kind of like, you can project. This is not prophesizing, religious language. This is based on data. You can have an idea that this is a likely outcome. You need to look at countries such as, for example, Sweden, but notably Japan. And here in the conversation we're talking is Japan. Japan, where notably you have the phenomenon of herbivore men, aka men who have withdrawn from sex and notably dating, really contributing to Japan's crisis of birth rate, denatality. Japan is the only country, the first country in which more people die than people are born, so causing a drop.
Right.
But that is also due to the advances of technology, in which people, not just men, but notably greatly men, the advances of technology create comfort, from sex robots to artificial intelligence. It's not the artificial intelligence by itself. It's a very human thing, which is the attachment. The attachment that is created. It's kind of like you look at white people and the dog. To most Black people, it doesn't make sense to consider a dog as a family member. I come from a country where in some parts of the country, people eat dog. It's a cultural thing. So I'm talking dog, but you replace a dog with a synthesized voice a program that learns through interactions, but also that can learn through online.
Right.
You, depending on the vulnerability of the person, such as there's a 14-year-old, I think 14-year-old black boy who committed suicide because he grew attachment to a computer program with a feminine voice.
Wow, that's
That
intense.
is where
Right.
that is where it's going. And if you can put that example in a how do you call that, a living program, kind of like there's a movie I think called The Stepford Wife. You create a model. I mean, what I'm saying already exists. There is a Canadian company that creates sex robots, and last time I was talking about a Russian show where this company made female robots that many men were using as sex robots. So
And yeah, they tried to claim that it wasn't for that, but it was like
it's the purpose. It's the purpose.
Exactly.
When you look from a company point of view,
yes.
if you're bound to make money off sex robots, so I'll give you a perfect example. How did pornography become legal in the Western world in the early 70s? It wasn't in terms of porn, or even it wasn't in terms of profits. It was from the intent to diminish rapes and sexual assault on women and notably on children. But Larry Flint and I'm forgetting the man from Playboy here.
Larry Flint of Hustler magazine.
Hustler. Larry Flint is Hustler, the one from Playboy. I'm forgetting his name.
Hugh Hefner.
Hugh Hefner. There you go. But the intent in regards to the legalization of pornography met with the business and profit margins that was exploited, and this is where we have the phenomenon now of porn as an addiction for too many. Porn, like anything else, doesn't have to be an addiction. It's like alcohol. Any product, it becomes an addiction due to XYZ realities, dependencies, attachment issues, etc. It's the same thing with artificial intelligence. I'll give you an example. Sam Altman talked about how the very simple notion. So I teach my daughter, when she uses Alexa, say please and thank you. It sounds trivial. To me, I want her.
I'm with you on that.
I want her to register the very notion of kind of like humanity, humanizing the non-human, not in terms of being attached to a robot, but showing respect to a service. But please and thank you, Sam Altman revealed it actually costs millions, because every second, aka every bit and data, generates electricity, generates power, and therefore cost. When you have all of this that you put together, from the attachment to the business costs, this is where it's bound to go. More detachment in terms of humans, more profits, more attachment to the non-human thing, in the same way as, let's say, simple example, a man can be more attached to his basketball team, more loyalty to his sports team than to his wife, who is there next to him, who is the mother of his children. But he's you see what I mean? That's what I mean. Yeah,
absolutely. Especially with the playoffs starting, that separation gets even stronger. But you're saying that you don't think that AI is smarter than humans, and I would push back against that.
No, it's not.
The recall of AI is way beyond any human. Like, yes, creativity, we would be able to create things that AI hasn't thought of, but to recall it, AI is thousands, like exponentially beyond what we could recall. Even if we know the information to be able to recall it, AI is definitely way ahead of us.
So it's not so much, so it's a matter of perspectives and language. Absolutely, on the surface, it would seem AI, as let's say a computer, whatever you name it, is smarter. Absolutely. But how can I put it? So, and I give you two perfect examples. I think it was Gary Kasparov who battled a computer model in chess. I'll give you another example. China right now, if I'm not mistaken, the fastest and most powerful computer in the world is actually Chinese, contrary to whatever Donald Trump may want to think. I think they have developed the first, I might be wrong, the first quantum speed computer.
Gotcha.
So, but the thing is this, humans have two advantages. First of all, the AI slash computer, you name it, the program is always human created, so bound by humans' limits, capabilities, but also biases, which, of course, as we were notably talking about artificial intelligence at the United Nations, can be a next layer of discrimination, racism, as browns and blacks also are underrepresented in the artificial intelligence world. At the same time, it is that very human. I can't remember who said it. I can't remember if it was. I'm having a memory blank right now. The astrophysicist who was on the wheelchair. I'm having a. Sorry.
Stephen Hawking.
Yes, Stephen. I can't remember if it's Stephen Hawking who said this, but when Stephen Hawking talked about the danger of human exploration with aliens, aka if the aliens come, it would be like Columbus coming to the Americas, meaning they're more in advance to us, and our humans understanding basically makes it that they would colonize or genocide us, as we would be a inferior species. But there's also another language, which is the greatest advantage that humans have over technology. It is the non-technical, aka the emotional aspect of us, the nuances of our language, of our behavior, of our complexities. So, like I tell people all the time, I go to the gym. People see me with a headset. I must be listening to music and all that. Never. I never listen to music in the gym. I always remind people the biggest and most important muscle is the brain. The brain is the most complex muscle, the most complex organ, and the most important. And again, I give you back that series Lex, L-E-X-X I talked about, in terms of someone dying and the downloading of the synapses, neuronal nerves, etc., that can be put into a file, kind of like in this other movie, Chappie, where the human can continue the existence through a simulated program. AI needs human in order for it to be able to replicate or create other narratives, but ultimately, Terminator 2 type of scenario, it's not that it's impossible, but in the four laws of robotics, the one that talks about robots not being able to harm human, it still takes a human to break that law, but at the same time, it is humans who, through the complexities of the brain and the relations, are able to break free from the domination of technology. As right now we are talking about AI, as and I'm going to give you this. Many people are predicting singularity. We are in 2025, between 2027, 2030, 2 to 5 years, aka the likely outcome where the machine, aka AI, will have surpassed humans. But again, the machine does not exist without the human. You see what I mean? The question always with human beings is it's kind of like the nuclear weapon in 1945. It's not that Einstein was opposed to the nuclear weapon. Einstein was opposed to Germany having had it due to the mindset that make it that it's a necessary evil to have to prevent a bigger evil. What will be the human interest? Who will be the person in command? It's like we saw during COVID, many Americans died, not so much because of COVID, but because it was Donald Trump who was president. Many people, like, think about those who injected bleach. Meanwhile, when he got COVID, he went to get the vaccine. So that's the human element involved in all this progress. And I say this because today we're talking about AI. Nanotechnology is coming. And with nanotechnology, not only is it coming, but we can clearly see, I'm not a prophet, but is it the end of this century? Will it be in the next? A fusion between human and robots, in terms of which, notably, artificial intelligence will play a key role. I give you an example. I'm watching right now a Netflix show called Moonrise, in which, by the way, I love spoilers, the AI directs human behaviors, but there is a rebellion that occurs among humans who live on the moons, who basically become distant, kind of as a different species. That is bound to happen. And it's a beautiful thing. It's evolution with a technology aspect. When I say technology aspect, We're in 2025. Imagine 100 years ago, your ancestor, great-great-grandfather, or 200 or 500 years ago, right now we would see you driving a car. It is not so much the car itself. The speed of the car to the eye and the brain will be fascinating.
Right.
Fascinating as the eye, the very eye, is not accustomed to a human in this box moving at that distance.
Right. It becomes like a new person or
All
type
right.
of person.
I got to
You
jump
are
in
Ivan.
with a few things. First of all, we got to catch up
sorry,
on comments.
so sorry.
No. From way back, Dr. Tachi says, "Hey, Cesar." So she is saying hello. And I think she was caught off guard that Cesar is on the show today. So he is here. She goes, "Oh." And then C Nurse K goes, "Congratulations, Dr. Tachi." And I believe she's congratulating her for the number of followers underneath soup. Dr. Tachi says, "Thank you." Back to C Nurse K. Look who's in the house, Wayne Harris. Morning, gents. Hope you had a great Easter. Right back at you, Wayne Harris. Good to see you. Dr. Tachi says, "Wow, good Lord," about all this AI chat. She goes, yep, always say please and thank you. Hashtag spared during the robot apocalypse.
Yes. They will remember.
Very good. Very good stuff. Very good stuff. As we transition, because it's probably the only other topic we'll get to because time is fleeting fast. Upcoming federal election, and Ryan messaged me over the weekend. He actually had time to message me, folks. You believe that? He actually had time to message me. All right. We have an election coming up. It's actually the vote, well, the pre-voting over the weekend. They've had record numbers of people show up to vote. So I think we'll tie that into this conversation topic. Ryan says the Liberal Party of Canada platform promise of making Black Entrepreneur Program permanent. And it's very funny. Liberal and NDP have released their platform. The Conservatives haven't released it yet.
Gotcha. And I'm sharing my screen. I'm not sure if
No, I got a story up from the Yahoo News saying, the 4-year plan includes billions in gender inequality and spending, including $160 to $60 million to make the Black Entrepreneur permanent. Did you want to put something up, Ryan, also?
Yeah, just the actual campaign that they launched. So I guess
okay, I'll take this off. But while you're bringing that up,
can you see it now? Is it not showing?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna put up here. Okay.
Okay.
Add the stage. Okay.
So it was interesting to see that. So this is where making the Black Entrepreneurship Program permanent and provide ongoing funding to support Black businesses. So if people have not had time to go through the full Liberal campaign promise, so this is their Carney's plan. This is where every time they launch these things, I love to just search and see, like, are Black people mentioned? So you'll notice, I think the term Black is mentioned about 5 times. And so they talk about confronting systemic barriers. They talk about the Black Entrepreneurship Program. And this talks about the Black Entrepreneurship Program again. It's very sparse. And this is where, because our organization was part of the Black Entrepreneurship Program, ACBN, the Afro-Caribbean Business Network, got funded in the Black ecosystem, I'd say, tier of the Black Entrepreneurship Program, and then seeing it end effectively, and now it being promised as being permanent, because after it ended, we did see that in the budget, it was promised to be renewed, and now it's being promised to be permanent. And you mentioned something, Dr. Vibe, about other campaign promises. So the NDP, I didn't see them mention anything about the Black Entrepreneurship Program, and the Conservatives haven't released anything. I'm not expecting them to have anything in there specific to Black entrepreneurs. So it makes people wonder or realize why we vote certain ways. And if nothing is promised, it's almost like you go with where promises are, but then should promises be enough if we're not seeing tangible things happening? So now we're seeing this being promised. I'd be very curious, because I talked to conservative MPs and asked to let them know about what ACBN does. Is that enough to get it into a campaign? What do we call these things? Just campaign plan? Or is it now the conservatives don't think that they have to do anything for black people, and will they still get voted in? I would say when Trudeau was in and Liberal Party was definitely tanking, they really didn't have to reach out to the black community and say anything. Now that tides have turned with Carney coming in, do we feel that the conservatives need to promise something specific to black people in order to win?
Okay, before we go any further, got Soul Reaction by Sharon TV. Good to see you here for the first time. Don't be a stranger. If you're up to it, please subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube. Producer, let me put it up, please. Thank you, because you got to get things up quicker. All right, so there we go. We're gonna take it off. All right, so we can take it down now. It's interesting to see this. Now, I think what I was told, I'll let Cesar jump in. The reason why that a promise didn't go through this year is that I was told that it was in Parliament to vote, but because former Prime Minister Trudeau resigned, everything got held up in Parliament.
Well, I will say the day the budget came out is when Chrystia Freeland resigned. So that caused, I would say, the start of everything being paused or in flux. And then that kind of forced Trudeau to resign. And then him resigning caused now them to do the leadership race.
Yeah,
and
prorogue Parliament and
Parliament.
everything. That's
So
what I
everything,
was told.
but what I understand is they still had the ability to put things through Treasury and lock it in, and they chose not to. So then the election gets called after Carney gets nominated, or actually wins the leadership of becomes prime minister, and then the election gets called a couple of weeks later. So now all things that were promised, I feel like it should have never got to the point of it being ended. Like, we had 3 years of us operating, and again, a lot of that's on us, like the advocacy that should have been done while the program was going on, so that it didn't get to a point that it ended. We could have got it renewed earlier, and we didn't, and now it got to the end. We got the promise of it being renewed, but hey, politics happens. So now we're in a state where, okay, do we stick with the party because they're the only ones that have promised something and they're the only ones that have done something in the past, or do we shift where there is no promise? Like, I feel like this is when we talk about liberals and why black people vote liberal, usually, especially my elders, can point to something that the Liberal Party had done in the past. And they use that as, hey, that's why I always vote liberal, because they did X, Y, Z, whether it's immigration or funding programs. And I always ask myself, is that enough? Like, are we committed to a party
Before I let Cesar jump in, I know Cesar will have some good takes on this. I'm going to put up I think, you know what? I got a few polls to put up, but I think I'm going to put up this one first. In regards to, because in our environment, a lot of times people who look like us don't vote.
Okay, yes.
All right. So I'm going to put up a poll here in just a second asking, if you are in Canada, are you going to vote in this federal election? Now, and this will be a poll for people on YouTube. So if you're on YouTube and you're a Canadian citizen, are you going to vote in this election? So either put yes or no or not sure. Cesar, I will hand it over to you. What do you think about this promise, and I guess Black Canadians in voting?
Well, what do I think about it? Let me jump back first on what Brother Ryan said, because he did ask a very important question in terms of Black Canada / Black communities' loyalty to the Liberal Party. But I would invite our people to change the narratives in terms of, is it so much a loyalty to the party or a loyalty to the nature of interest for the Black community? And this is where you kind of see the difference here, in which, and full disclosure, my organization, North-South Development Roots and Culture Canada, didn't get funding to the Black entrepreneurship program. So I have no interest or stake per se in what I'm saying, other than speaking as a Pan-Africanist living right now in Canada.
Mm.
But what I would say is this. Why would the Conservative Party or Mr. Poilievre, as Harper, any other name, make promises to the Black community when they don't recognize systemic racism?
Okay.
They don't look at our community as a key voting element of the bloc. The tent, the big conservative tent. Interestingly, the Black community is actually quite conservative socially. It's not in the Black community that you will see the highest for LGBTQ rights, for example,
Okay.
for abortion. And this is not some type of judgment. No, it's just a fact. It's in the Black community that you will see a higher percentage of, example, church and mosque attendance. So in terms of community, it is more conservative than liberal. But in terms of politics, it's more liberal than conservative, much more liberal. Whether we talk about Canada, the US, all the way down to Brazil, and in Europe, the Black community is more conservative within itself.
Okay.
But in politics, has to vote more to the left, not because they have a further appreciation of the left. I often use the remark, a historical lens. The monarchies of Europe enslaved Africans. The democracies of the West colonized us and neo-colonized us. And both parties of the Western political landscape, left as right, exploit us. So
Right.
it's not so much an issue of party or side or leanings, but in the reality of things, who are people likely to vote for if this is the party that brought us, that ended in the 60s, the interdiction of Africans and Caribbeans to migrate to Canada?
Mhm.
The elders will vote for them. If
Yeah.
this is the party that allowed more immigration, notably in terms of refugees in the 80s and 90s, they will vote for them where we were children. And when you look at our generation as mature, agile adults in our 30s and 40s, Black Entrepreneurship Fund, you may have your church-going conservative Black person who could be interested in voting conservative, but they're looking at the checkbook. They're looking at their bank account,
Mhm.
and they cannot deny reality that the money came from this liberal party. So they will encourage others to vote for them. This is the same logic as we see in the United States, as, for example, an Indian, I forget his name, an Indian venture capitalist switching from Democrats to Republicans because he suddenly got access to Donald Trump due
Yeah.
to money. That's all it is. This is politics. It has nothing to do in terms of loyalty per se. You could have a loyalty because, let's say, my friend or my relative is a member of this party, therefore I will, kind of like during COVID. What did I know of COVID in 2020? Nothing. But my sister-in-law is a doctor. She's on the panels of people who address COVID. She said, go for the jab. My family doctor, go for the jab. I'm going to go on Google and find 10,000 arguments to pretend that I know everything about COVID? No, I follow the lead. That's the loyalty. But here, in terms of politics, it's about the nature of interest. Fund by itself. Why is it that the Conservatives are not releasing the plan? I have a very strong suspicion that beyond Trudeau leaving and Carney coming, aka Poilievre's strategy was all out on Trudeau. It wasn't even against the Liberals per se. Dr. Vibe, remember what I said? The same people will, and overwhelmingly white people, but a certain type of white people. Let us not generalize all white people here. I'm talking about the Freedom, DUMB truckers, and those others who would have the flags F Trudeau on the pickup. Those same people were not returning the CERB checks during COVID. They were happy to receive them. So it was more an anti-Trudeau, aka the guy who basically supports LGBTQ right, the carbon tax. Like, Trudeau was this globalist that this minority of whites, and I'm saying minority of whites, were truly despising more than the Liberal Party. And now you get Carney with what? 85.6, 85.9 support, a pure humiliation to Chrystia Freeland, but a strong mandate, and then you get the Joker factor in here. The Joker factor, January 20th, Donald Trump, literally, as he said himself, and other analysts said, how do you manage to lose a 25 to 30 points lead ahead of federal/national elections? The Conservative Party may be thinking it is best for them not to release ahead of some news from Donald Trump that may tank them, so they want to release at the very last moment. It's strategic, but as you say so well regarding for us Black communities, it is just further, and I'm saying Black communities, even when you look at Asian, Arab, such as the situation in Gaza, Asian community, notably Chinese, the Taiwan situation, Poilievre, Trump of the North, that stigma is sticking to him like glue. He's not being able to rid himself of it because he's also not changing strategy. He did something that liberals would do very recently. He suddenly started talking about having a non-verbal autistic child. Why is it that you're suddenly doing this ahead of this? Kind of like that, getting that sympathy vote. I am not trying to pretend I know, and I'm definitely not. Other than getting messages from people from the Conservative, sending me text messages to go vote. I don't know why. I've never voted Conservative in my life. As I say, I am not in those landscapes, but I really think that strategy can be damning for them, but for the Black community, and this is not so much about the Black Entrepreneurship Fund per itself, but it is a reality in terms of interest. A Black business owner, but just as a white person will got that CERB check, in the context of inflation, tariffs, and who knows what's coming. Like I said, Dr. Vibe, it's going to be a hot summer. Was it Saturday? A nationwide protest in the US against Trump, global protest against Trump and Musk. It's going to be a hot summer. People are looking at April 28th in terms of, I mean, not like the liberals. I don't even know who this Carney guy is. But that Poilievre guy is making me really nervous.
Yeah, that's one thing.
All right. I just want to jump in real quick. Derek Tuggle, what up, Derek, says, I hope they don't sit out like the Blacks do in America. And then JJ Mars, what is up, JJ Mars from Colorado, says, politics is just a game. Just like Janet Jackson said, quote, what have you done for me lately?
Absolutely, very accurate. That's what it is. And that's also why you get the great promises. The Pope died today. Perfect timing for this. When does the Black community mostly see politicians in churches?
Election time. Same in America.
There you go.
Same in America. Well, it's going to be interesting, and it's in my mindset. Am I going to do something live the night of the federal election? Because we did it for the American elections.
Yeah, I think that'd be good.
I think we do something for the Canadian elections. It's very interesting. When Ryan said that information to me about them wanting to put this money on, going, okay, are they buying the vote? Like, are the polls that close right now that they're needing to get this vote out, the Black vote out, instead of people sitting by? Is it that close of an election? And I think, just the Conservatives not releasing a platform, ouch. When you have two other parties releasing a platform before you, ouch.
But like Cesar, you're saying how heavily weighted it was to just attack Trudeau has definitely caused them, they've had to reverse course so strongly. Like it's trying to bend an oak tree now because that was their full game plan. So I don't doubt that plan that they had fully done, now reworking it to figure out, okay, the weak points of Carney, because they tried to make the carbon tax Carney stick, but they realized that it couldn't because he had canceled a portion of it. So people weren't resonating with what they were trying to label him as.
And if you don't mind, even the attack on the carbon tax is a false flag attack because, notably in Ontario, people were receiving a check by the end. Very
Right.
often, that's what happens. So yes, on the surface, you're upset that gas is so high, but at the end of the day, when you're receiving that check in terms of carbon tax, you're happy to go to the bank with it.
And it didn't help now that when Carney canceled it, gas prices dropped. So the conservatives trying to pin high prices and people seeing prices dropping didn't mesh. It's like the messaging. I know now I'm seeing ads where they're saying like sneaky Carney. They're trying to make that stick. But then they're trying tactics that I feel Trump would do, where you're trying to do a gotcha title on the candidate. It's like it doesn't really.
Trump of the North. Trump of the North.
And then that makes that stick more, right? Yeah. Oh man.
Oh, Dr. Vibe, you're on mute. You're on mute, Dr.
Are you
Vibe.
talking?
I'm just trying to do too many things. I'm just a little curious. And it's interesting. The Liberals, if they wanted to, could really push the Trump of the North on Poilievre. They haven't done it.
I think it's wise because
Yes.
it would
Trump,
seem.
well, 47 does a good enough job of himself. So I don't think they need to attack Poilievre. Oh, two quick questions. Two quick comments here from Frequency Event Promotion. Says absolutely nothing in response to Janet Jackson. And he says, voted yesterday, very necessary to vote. Go ahead, gentlemen.
No, I would just say, and if you don't mind, it will be my last intervention looking at the time. I would really just say for our Black people to go vote in election. Whereas I can say that my Pan-Africanism doesn't take side, I am a Black member of this nation. The honors that I've had of representing Canada in martial arts, in academia, and now the United Nations forces me to invite people to vote on such a crucial election in which we notably see not only parallels in terms of Poilievre as a mini Trump, but also the impact of Donald Trump on the Canadian elections and at a pivotal moment of the Western world in regard to multiculturalism, identity, the rise of white supremacy, and we were talking about AI. How is the new industrial age that's coming in going to impact our communities, our Black communities? Who do we want there at the very top? Yes, it's a white man, is liberal, but that's not exactly the biggest issue. And the actions that have been taken, can they harm us more or can they help us improve? I'm not so much worried in terms of the increase to the Canadian deficit, aka it's less the deficit in terms of number, but more the management of the deficit. As we see in the US, the mismanagement of the deficit is creating more trust issues, which is adding to the economic woes that the United States is living through and is going to live through further. In Canada, and I give an example of back in 2008 with the financial banking crisis, more regulations, more constraints, yes, aka it's less likely to be a self-made millionaire in Canada than in the US, but you have more of a cushion to lend, including for our Black communities. As I say, the ghetto in Canada can be harsh and everything, but it doesn't compare to the ghetto in the US. It doesn't compare to the ghetto in Brazil either. Gentlemen, allow me to leave.
No problem, Cesar. Thank you so much. If you want to catch more Cesar, catch him Sunday afternoons at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, Black Canada Talking, and there is his contact information. Cesar, thank you as always. A pleasure, my man. Take care.
Thank you. Brother Ryan, Dr. Vibe, Dr. Tachi, and everyone. Take care.
All right, fantastic. Always good to have Cesar on any of the platforms, and there we go. Yeah, man. So JJ Mars says, Frequency Event Promotions, LOL, nothing, nada, zero. Frequency Event Promotions says politics is a dirty game, but one would have to agree. You get to see through all the smoke what is real, fake and questionable. Very good.
Gotcha.
That is crazy and good. So I know, Ryan, you've got to leave pretty soon. In fact, because I know you're always on the clock. So what I'm going to do is put up another poll. So on Friday, we'll get talking about Gen Zs. So we'll have that on Friday. But I want to just I'm going to do a quick poll for the Canadians that are here. We'll do we'll probably do some polls throughout the next few days. Well, also on Friday's show. PC. I'm just getting a poll right now on who you're going to vote for in the election. I'm only going to include the three main parties, and I'm also going to put not sure. Very interested to see what's going to happen to the NDP after this election. Jagmeet Singh.
Ooh, their polling numbers are going in the wrong direction. And they're saying that he might not even win his seat now. That
What?
If he doesn't win his seat, there's no
He's gone.
way I think he stays as leader. Even if he does, it's tight that he would stay as leader.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to keep on going. Keep on going.
Yeah, because unfortunately, the momentum that they had from last election, now possibly losing those seats, and like I was saying, going backwards, like it'd be tough for him to make the case that the NDP is going in the right direction. He has to be able to show that the leadership that he's embodying is causing more seats to be had so that they can become a true opposition and eventually become the actual elected party. But I don't think it's been working.
Well, I think especially because this is such a nationalistic vote, it sounds that it seems they're saying a lot of NDP voters are leaving to go vote Liberal.
Gotcha. Well, I guess they're not seeing the benefit of splitting the vote to NDP. Because before, that's where now you have this third party that can kind of be the check and balance. But I think when they aligned with the Liberals, it caused now them to just look like one. So if I'm going to vote for these types of policies, I might as well just vote Liberal instead of voting NDP and then causing the Conservatives to sneak in. So on the ground, I'm not sure exactly how the Liberals are swaying NDP voters to say like, hey, that's a wasted vote. You might as well just vote for us so that we can actually get into power. But it's working.
Well, we'll see. Okay, one last poll for people. If you're on the YouTube channel, if you are Canadian, have you or are you going to vote in the federal elections? You got to put yes or no in the comment section. Yes, no, or not sure in the comment section. So we'll just rule off with that. Ryan, what is up for the rest of you? We got one more. Frequency of Everyone says, have a good week, everyone and all. Have a good week, everyone and all. And that's fantastic. What's up with you this week, sir?
Yeah, actually, I was going to share my screen really quick because, as I mentioned, this week is packed full of, let me know if it's showing okay. This week is packed full of detailing. It is spring, as I was saying, so we have the $100 special. If you need your car clean coming out of winter and it is just looking like a mess, every time you get in your car, your excitement goes down because you know that you need to clean it. We are here for you. And we have our upcoming info session about working with Detailing Nights. So if you know somebody that is looking for a job in the summer, invite them to our info session on April the 25th. So that's this Friday at 6:30. We're doing an overview of, what Detailing Nights does, the different positions that we have available. And we'd love to work with you this summer if you're interested. So please share the word. If anybody you know that's looking for a job, we are hiring. So we shall see you on Friday.
Yeah, and as we round out today, subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Please subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Also, join the Discord group. Email me, dr.vibe@drvibeshow.com. Also, the link is there for you to join. If you want to advertise your business product or service on our platform, again, email me, dr.vibe@drvibeshow.com. What else do we got going on? Want to get a hold of Ryan outside of Detailing Nights, RyanO'NeillKnight.com. And I always have to say KN, not N. Has anyone ever made that mistake, by the way?
I wouldn't know because I wouldn't get the email.
Or has anyone said that to you and said, "Oh, I didn't put the K"?
No. Well, maybe that's where they're like, "Oh, I keep emailing you and I can't get you." I'm saying,
Are
you?
Did you spell my name right?
Right.
LinkedIn, Ryan O'Neill Knight. Instagram at Ryan.Knight99. Work with me, RyanO'NeillKnight.com. Also with me, website the DR, VIBESHOW.com, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, The Dr. Vibe Show. Instagram at The Dr. Vibe Show. X at DR, VIBESHOW. And email address DR.VIBE at the DR, VIBESHOW.com. Not forgetting the new posse joining on board on Substack. Thank you so much.
Nice.
And also on Blue Sky. And finally, if you want to watch replays of this, The Dr. Vibe Show, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, Afro-Caribbean Business Network on Facebook, and Ryan O'Neill Knight on YouTube. I've got to add the Substack too on that. So yeah, so on Friday, Ryan will be back. Hopefully, I'm going to invite a bunch of people. Dr. Tatch, if you're watching this, want to have you come on as always. Maybe Cesar, we can talk about Gen Z. Are Gen Z lazy?
Okay.
A lot of the elder generation said Gen Z, or people, even myself and Ryan, not me, not him, say that they're a lazy bunch.
Right.
Are they? Mel Robbins, you may know that name, saying no. The reason why they may not be as active is partly baby boomers' faults. So stick with that. We'll be back. And again, hope you had a really good weekend. And yes, we are back in the swing of things on the Morning Vibe. All right. Don't just manage it. I got to say, live your life as a dream. If you can dream, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions. Then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher and wider. Love, faith, and respect. Don't just manage your time, manage energy. Remember to give yourself grace. If you're not making money, make history. Try to do both and make it better. And people are coming in now. Hey, you got to watch the replay. God bless. Peace to help. Keep the faith and walk good.
This whole thing of using your business with plant-based products, don't you think your life should reflect that too?
Juke him, Carolyn. Juke him. The family loves us here because they're saying Fitness IQ Can says put a wig on to get in.
Oh my God.
Like the idea of just coming fast and furious here this morning. What? Okay, look at this. Global Women Ambassador. Good morning. Look forward. Okay.